All right, now for some live touring of TechSource Systems. So this is what you're saying is a rack. So
right.
When you have a 4-system rack, this is what you're talking about, and there's 47 trays that you can put in here.
Right. There's actually 48 heaters, but this top heater is there just to radiate heat down onto the tray below it. Of course, this one doesn't have all of the heaters in place, but you can see that that's the way that they work. What makes ours unique is that you can remove them. And so this is the heated shelf here, and this is the heater. This is vulcanized onto the back of the plate. This is a hard anodized, black hard anodized aluminum. This is extremely hard.
Wow.
There's, you can see the traces in here for the heater. The reason that we use this plate, this type of plate, there's two reasons. One is that the surface is very, very hard. And so you're not going to get any wearing out of this as you put trays in and out. Yeah. The other one is it's high emissivity. It's going to give off heat very, very efficiently. The fact that you can remove this is beneficial because if you have a product that is bigger than 1.5 inches, these are at a 1.5 inch pitch. Yeah. If you have a product that's larger than that, you can move every other shelf and do larger product. Of course, the other thing is that if a heater malfunctions, then
you can replace it.
It's easier to replace than a light bulb.
And I think what's kind of nice too is like, I don't see a whole lot of wires in here. You know, it's not things that are gonna be faulty for someone who's an amateur like myself, other people. You know, people are gonna be working with these racks who are gonna be trained by someone who is experienced in freeze drying as an owner, but maybe they're gonna be hiring, you know, 18, 24-year-olds in college running these machines, stuff like that. So it's like, there's not a whole lot of things that are gonna really mess up and cause a lot of damage.
Right, and then the other thing that is particularly different about our systems is the embedded temperature transmitters in the heaters. So this is broken up into 3 zones, and in the middle of each zone is a special heater. Pull this out. You can see back here, there's 2 temperature transmitters. These are actually IC transmitters.
Okay.
And they're sending a signal to the PLC of what the temperature of the heater is. These temperatures are averaged. If one of them goes out, it ignores the one that goes out. And so what that's going to do is that's going to ensure that you never have a section of product that goes bad because your temperature sensing has gone out. The other benefit is each of these zones is controlled individually. So you don't have a single thermocouple controlling the entire zone. You end up with microclimates in the freeze dryer. This tends to be too hot. This is just right, playing the 3 bears here. And this one is too cold. So this way we're able to control these individually. This increases your yield and your throughput significantly.
Now you talked about, I brought up the fact that I freeze dry ice cream for my own business, and my countertop unit does very well. But you said that other systems that are built commercially aren't built to do ice cream well. Why does ice cream not work in some commercial freeze dryers, and why would it work in yours?
Ice cream is really sensitive to melt back. Okay, a lot of commercial freeze dryers struggle with this because the outside of say that you're doing an ice cream sandwich, the outside will be great, but then the inside will melt, and you'll end up with a hollow, hard chunk in the middle of the ice cream sandwich. And so what we're able to do is we're able to control the temperature and the vacuum level very, very tightly so that we never get close to that point where it's going to melt back.
What else can you tell us about how does someone get this type of rack into the system? Is it very hard to push around?
Yeah, it actually pushes around very easily. Once this is all loaded up, this is closed up. And then you can see at the top here, I think on the camera, you can see these rollers. In the top of the chamber, there's guides. And so you push it up the ramp, turn it sideways, that goes in between the guides, and it just glides to the back. Once it's inside, you have two connectors here. This is the heater connector, and this is the temperature connector. You hook this up to fittings that are in the top of the chamber, and that connects it to the control system.
And when we're talking about recipes, I just want to note that a recipe would be indicated by what does the product look like, what's the texture, how, like, do you want it to be super shrunk down like you might see with dehydration, or do you want it to look exactly like the original product like we have? So a recipe is just really refining the freeze drying process so that every single one of these trays and every single one of your racks is coming out with very little waste, and so that you're getting a very good product every time you set that freeze dryer up to do the cycle.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that really is unique about our systems, is the countertop systems really are very, very good for producing a very high quality product. There's not very many commercial systems that can reproduce that, and that's where our systems are able to say you take an apple slice and you run it through our system, comes out, it looks exactly like an apple slice. It's not shriveled, it's not shrunk, and that's very difficult for other companies to do, where that's what we excel in.
Awesome. And I just finished talking about recipes, but like, what are some non-food related things that get freeze dried that you've been more aware of now that people are making a business out of it?
Probably the biggest one is cannabis, and so that's where our systems are able to work better than some systems. And the reason for that is when they're drying the cannabis, if they want to be able to do it for extraction, then it's very, very efficient. You don't have to have the worries about hang drying it, as far as mold and all that kind of stuff. But then also, if they're doing the smokable product, we can control the vacuum level, so the vacuum level doesn't get down to the point where the terpenes are removed. It keeps the terpenes within the product that they want to have, and so that's a non-food application.
Yeah. Now, to the inquisitive person that I am, what's the strangest thing you've heard freeze dried?
Probably the animal parts is one.
Animal parts?
Yeah, for taxidermy. There's a company back east that does strictly turkey heads. That's all they freeze dry is turkey heads for taxidermy. And so same with feet and that kind of thing.
So what does someone do with a freeze dried turkey head?
They can reattach it to the rest of the turkey when they're reconstructing the taxidermy bird, and it's just a lot easier and more realistic than trying to come up with a fake turkey head. Also, I've heard of freeze drying pets. So Fluffy passes on and a person will have it freeze dried.
Talk to me about the different types of trays for food prep that you would then freeze and then put on the racks.
Yeah, it turns out that a tray isn't a tray. You know, there's different types of trays. Most people buy this kind of a tray here that has a wire inside of this, and it's called a closed lip.
Okay.
And the issue is you can see that there's a gap there.
Yeah.
So you'll get moisture and crud up there trapped in this area, and there's no way to sanitize it.
So as you can see, like the little gaps, and believe it or not, you probably are used to this. If you take a look at baking sheets that you have today, you'll notice that kind of like groove that kind of is bent over. That's what can get food in here, and that's a no-no for food safety if you really want to be pure about food safety measures.
And so what the FDA likes to see is they like to see this design where it's called an open lip.
Okay.
Where the material is thicker and you don't have anything that can trap back there. So anyway, that's one of the things about the trays. And then all of our products use the standard full-size baking tray. And then this is the rack that we use on our large systems. We have systems that use 4, 7, or 10 of these racks.